In this video, we're going to talk about something so common to so many people out there, which can be called imposter syndrome. I call it chase energy, where we kind of get out of our true, authentic self and we end up judging ourselves or where we are on our journey or feeling uncomfortable in our interactions with other people. So this is super, super common. And I can tell you first off, the very first step is to understand that it's really, really normal to do this when you are not as aware of your own traumas or your own patterns. When we live in sort of a more subconscious, when we're being driven by survival or subconscious trauma, a little more anxious, we tend to not be fully present in our bodies. What I mean by that is one of the coping skills is to merge or leave our bodies in the kind of soul sense, where we may leave the body doing its thing here and just go to Never Land, go to a place where we're feeling like we're not going to be hurt. Or we may merge into somebody else's problems where we're just focusing on them, on your spouse or your kids or your job, constantly in your career. And then that way, you don't have to feel whatever the old traumas are, whatever you're trying to clear out of your system. And a lot of times it's pretty basic emotions that were probably set in childhood or sometimes even before. We think we come in with some ancestral trauma, things like unworthiness, not enough, self-judgment, self-hatred. These things can come on board most of the time, very young age, often without a very clear cause. So you may have had what you thought was a relatively normal childhood, but maybe you had parents who were still working on their own stuff or not aware of their own stuff, so you were parentified, meaning having to kind of clean up their energy. And a lot of times, by the way, many of us came in more evolved. So we had the gifts. We hold the gifts of clearing the energy of other people. So of course we're going to want to help those we love the most, being our family. So if we're working all the time on clearing our family's trauma without even knowing it, often as a little kid, we just get used to not dealing with our own. So a lot of times where imposter or chase kind of energy comes in, I think there's a knowing deep inside of us that we're not supposed to do that, but we don't know how to make the shift. So instead it becomes self-judgment, frustration, feeling like self-betrayal, like I lost all this time, I haven't done what I needed to do. And what happened with me is as I've been on this healing journey myself, all of a sudden I started realizing that what I was doing, even in the work context, like as I was working on my personal brand and trying to work on the book and speaking, is that I was chasing. And it's hard to describe it. It's an energy where if I saw other people doing things and I was like, why are they doing that? Why did they have so many things going on? Why do they have followers? Why are they on stages? I know I can do that. That I would go and try to find people or classes or things to do that would help me become that manifestation of myself that I knew I was capable of. But I was chasing those opportunities, like trying to prove myself to people, maybe to take me in their mastermind or to have me on their podcast. And that energy is not healthy because it was actually pushing away the right type of partnerships and bringing me in people that were more vampiric, connections where they were not balanced, where I think the other person could feel that imposter or chase energy and they went in to take advantage of all the knowledge I had. And a lot of times when we're in chase or we're in imposter, we tend to overshare. So if you've ever noticed that about yourself, it's really important. This is something newer for me to realize. If you overshare ideas, things you've done that have been successful, projects you're working on, many times people will listen, they'll act interested, and then you don't hear from them again. And guess what? They're your ideas and all your hard work and so many things that maybe you've connected the dots and you're understanding and you're working on are now free for all for whoever just listened to that dump of overshare. So what I would say about this, what I do, and this is an art, so I'm going to reassure you to say wherever you are on this journey, if you're just looking into this and just starting to realize it, just understand you're not alone. Most of us do this. If you feel imposter or you feel like you're chasing things, don't judge yourself. That's the first thing. Just do one of my favorite quotes that I tell patients every day. Find yourself fascinating. So just stop and be like, oh wow, I'm feeling imposter. I'm feeling like I'm not enough. I wonder why that is. And go sit and journal. Ask yourself, just start writing down because I'm a loser, because I'm not good enough, because I'm just going to be stuck doing this my whole life. Whatever comes out, don't judge that either. Just dump the thoughts so they have somewhere to go. Rip out those pages, rip them up, and throw it away. It's a clearing. Or hop in an Epsom salt bath, or go sit by a tree. Ask the tree to take those thoughts away. So first, just honor the thoughts. Then start working on all that energy that you had of learning new things, of chasing the people, and try to put that into bettering yourself. Maybe it's listening to an audiobook on the topic you're trying to learn more about. Maybe it is joining a mastermind that feels more aligned with you, where the people are a little bit less chasey and more grounded, more present, more caring. Maybe it is just putting something out there that you've wanted to do. Maybe it's a video, post it and try not to be attached to the outcome. And then the last tip I'll give is that as you go through this process, whether it's first the awareness without judgment, then doing some things that maybe you were scared to do, little action steps, they can be baby steps. And then third, don't judge yourself when you slip back. This happens even to me still, and I've been working on this for a long time. So the other day, I met somebody that I thought was going to be a really good connection, and I was looking forward to meeting this person, and I was at an event, a social event, and I literally found myself, which I haven't done this in a while, in that chase energy, kind of over-explaining what I do. And I noticed that this person I was talking to had absolutely no interest in what I was saying. So they were sort of gazing off my shoulder, kind of looking like they wanted to look at their watch. And we all have been in those types of interactions. But the difference in this one was I caught myself. So what I didn't judge myself. I found myself fascinating. I stopped talking almost mid-sentence with whatever story I was oversharing. And I said, you know what? It was so great meeting you. And I basically walked away, and that person didn't say, finish your story, or anything that a connected human would have said, like, I really loved meeting you as well. None of it. Almost just looked relieved that I wasn't boring them. I walked away, and then I left the event pretty quickly thereafter. And I went to my car, and I said, wow, I didn't know I still did that. I found myself fascinating. And I also said, wow, that's a human who comes off to the world like they're a spiritual person. They're someone who cares. Their work is aligned with something, something like that. But they really couldn't even connect for 5 minutes to somebody who was trying to be heart-centered. So they triggered that part of me, that unworthiness. And really the issue is more with them. So I was able to be so proud, and I was able to just view it, and I was able to say, okay, next time can I have a little more discernment where I could maybe catch myself sooner, or maybe I would feel the energy sooner and not even get into the conversation in the first place. So I hope those tips are helpful on your journey. Stay tuned, connect with us, make sure you like and subscribe because we'll have a lot more of these types of tips coming to you soon.